What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. Today's topic, the Warriors Code. Tevin Farmer, Bud Crawford, and Devin Haney. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazzy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, TBE Boxing back again. Let's chop up this Warriors Code. All right. So, boxing is a combat sport, basically. Okay. And, a lot of fighters, some fighters, you know, have a warrior's code. Okay. I mean, we all know what a warrior's code is. Uh, Basically, you would be someone, that fights all challenges, doesn't duck anyone. Okay. Basically just take all comers. Okay. Uh, and we see that a lot of boxers have that code, okay, and a lot of boxers don't. So basically, I guess we'd have to say that a few boxers have that code, and most boxers don't. Okay, I mean, if we look at the situation in boxing today, there's a lot of you know, I should say there's a deficit in the Warriors code, unless you're talking about a few boxers. Okay, people like uh, Tevin Farmer, Bud Crawford, Devin Haney. I mean, there are more boxers, but we're talking about these three today, okay, that have the Warriors code. Guys that don't duck anyone, that's willing to take all comers, okay? And so, we see that, as a matter of fact, it's the general state of boxing today is is basically in disrepair, I would say, due to the fact that there's a lack of the Warriors code in boxing right now. Okay, I mean, a lot of these guys are ducking each other. The fans are not getting the fights that they want. Uh, People making all kind of excuses. So, you know, I think that boxing. I mean, right now, as it stands, there's a lot of things wrong. Okay, and that's all I can say. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with boxing right now, and there's too much ducking going on. The fans are not getting their money's worth. Okay, and they're not getting the fights that they want to see. I mean, uh, we all know, the biggest fight out there today that's to be made in boxing is probably the Errol Spence versus Crawford fight. And up to now, we haven't gotten that fight yet because Errol Spence has been ducking that fight, using using every trick in the book, all kind of excuses to duck the fight, making up, trying to fight other fighters instead of fighting Crawford. And he even said it himself that he doesn't want to fight Crawford because he wants to take the easy route, and fight other guys, like Sean Porter and, and the like. So this is, I mean, everybody wants that fight, but it looks like everybody wants that fight except for Errol Spence. I mean, I've heard him, say that he's gonna fight. I mean, I've heard reports that he claims he's gonna fight Crawford before he leaves 147, which could be 5 years down the line. So we don't know what that's all about. I mean, based on his lineup that he has, that he publicized, him and his trainer Derek James, they have all kind of fights lined up down the line, and none of those fights are with Terence Crawford. Okay, as a matter of fact, uh, Derek James has said that Errol Spence's legacy does not depend on fighting Terence Crawford. So we see that they're ducking Crawford. I mean, there's no other way to really put it. I mean, I like Errol Spence. Okay, he's a great fighter, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people got to understand that you know people can say that he's the best fighter at 147. I don't believe it. I mean, I think he'd have to fight Crawford to prove it, and but I mean, at the end of the day, man, we have to understand that fighters are fighters, okay? They fight, and you know they're warriors, you know, okay. And but sometimes, you know, even a warrior knows that, you know, some warriors, you know, are not all warriors are not the same. Let's just put it like that, okay? Okay, some guys are warriors when they can when they fight and people they think they can beat, but they're not warriors when they facing stiff competition and people they think they might have problems with. They don't want to have. They don't want the problems. They don't want it. You know. And so this is, you know, what's going on in boxing. A lot of these guys don't want it when they have to face tough competition. Okay, but I will say that you know, these three guys that, you know, Tevin Farmer, Bud Crawford, and Devin Haney are guys that will face anybody in their division. They have no fear whatsoever of fighting the people in their division. They don't duck anybody. Anybody that, you know, that calls them out or say they want to fight them, they'll fight them. Okay, and you know that's a great code and an ethic. You know, it's a great. I like that in those fighters. That's what I call the warriors code. Now I understand that boxing is a business, okay, and it's not just, you know, just fighting. Okay, it's also a business, and you know that is true. Okay, but you know, just because it's a business doesn't mean you can't, you know, observe the warriors code. But a lot of these fighters use the business as an excuse, you know, or as a crutch, you know, or as a ducking mechanism. Okay. So oh no, I gotta do the business. You know, business about, you know, boxing is about business, not just about fighting anybody. You know, you gotta make, if you don't make, you gotta make sense. The fight gotta make sense. All these, you know, excuses that these guys use. Okay, but business is one of the biggest ones they use. You know, it's a business. Yeah, it's a business, but that doesn't mean anything. You know, in the sense that you can still observe the business part of boxing and still be a warrior in boxing. But a lot of these guys are just, you know, businessmen. Okay, that's that. You know, that's for me, the businessmen, you know, is just a euphemism for duckers or ducking. Okay, these guys, you know, use the business to duck the fights that should be made. And so we see that boxing, you know, is losing a lot of people. I mean, a lot of fans, because a lot of people going to UFC because you find more warriors in the UFC. Okay, it's just that simple. I mean, it is what it is. We can't, you know, look at it no other way. That's what's going on. So Tevin Farmer, let's start with him. Tevin Farmer is a great boxer, highly skilled, and he just lost his title to Jojo Diaz not too long ago, a couple of months back. And you know, it was a great fight actually. Jojo Diaz had a gash above his, a horrific gash above his eye, I think in the second round, and he continued to fight the whole fight and still won, which is, you know, great. You know, that's a warrior in the ring. Okay, so, but unfortunately, you know, it looks like Jojo Diaz is trying to duck the rematch with Tevin Farmer. Okay, you know, that, I mean, actually that rematch should have happened by now. Okay, but we don't see it happening, and I hear that Tevin Farmer is saying that Jojo Diaz is trying to duck the rematch. You know, and I heard a statement from Jojo Diaz himself. I read in an article. I'm going to show it to you in a minute, where he says that he's not ducking Tevin Farmer, but you know, he won the fight fair and square, and that, you know, if they run it back, it's gonna be the same result. What? What the hell are you talking about, Jojo? How do you know it's gonna be the same result? I mean, what are you, a prophet or something where you can see in the future? I mean, you know, I mean, that's funny, but to me, that's just, I mean, if you look at you know, objectively, I'm thinking that that's just a excuse he's using to, you know, I mean, he could duck Devin Haney. I don't think that, I mean, not Devin Haney, I'm sorry, Tevin Farmer. I don't think that, you know, and it just shows me that I don't think that Jojo Diaz has confidence that he can repeat his win against Tevin Farmer. I mean, why would you say something like what you're saying if you know, I mean, it's not like you demolished Tevin Farmer in your fight. It was a competitive fight up until the end, and you won. Okay, but what do you mean that this same result is going to happen again? You don't know that. I mean, you know, that's just, you know, probably just wishful thinking. You know, in order for the same result to happen again, you're gonna have to get in there and fight Tevin Farmer. So, you know, it looks like, you know, I thought that Jojo Diaz, you know, was a warrior, but unfortunately, I guess not. Looks like he's ducking. I'm going to show you the article. It's an article by Dan Raphael. I mean, you can go and check it out yourself. I'm going to show you the article so you can go and look it up and read it. But from what the article is saying, Jojo Diaz, you know, requested to fight his mandatory next. And not only did he request to fight his mandatory next instead of fighting Tevin Farmer, he did it like like 6 months in advance. You know, basically, you know, there's no need for him to request. The mandatory is not necessarily for, you know, now. It won't happen until maybe 6 months in a, you know, from, you know, it was like maybe 6 months away. But he went on ahead. He went on ahead early and tried to request the mandatory. I mean, why would, you know, the champion request the mandatory? I mean, I don't get that. Okay, I mean, if the mandatory is gonna come. What I mean, the mandatory is gonna come. Why are you gonna go in advance of the mandatory and try to push the mandatory forward 6 months? And when you know you have a fight, you have a rematch clause, you know, in the contract with Tevin Farmer. Okay, so right there, I mean, you know, there's no doubt from that, just on that action alone, we can say without a doubt that Jojo Diaz, you know, doesn't want a rematch with Tevin Farmer. He's trying to duck the fight. I mean, you know, that's the evidence right there. I mean, here's the article. You know, we could. Yeah, the article. Hold on, let me show you the article. Take a look at it. Hold on, here it is again. All right, so you see the article. Go take a look at the article and read it, and you know, you see what I'm talking about. So before, you know, like Tevin Farmer is a guy who takes all comers, and anybody that challenges him. I mean, he's been trying to fight Tank Davis, and he's been calling out a lot of guys in the division, and he's been, you know, they've been ducking him. Okay, nobody really wants him to smoke with Tevin Farmer, you know, and he doesn't duck anyone because he could have ducked. He didn't have to fight Tevin. He didn't have to fight Jojo Diaz. He called for that fight, actually. He said he'll fight Jojo Diaz next. I mean, he didn't have to fight Jojo Diaz. Okay, you know, but he did. But that's the kind of guy that Tevin Farmer is. Okay, he's a warrior, and if someone calls him out, or if anybody in his division, you know, calls him out, he's gonna take the fight. I mean, that's what warriors do. I mean, you know, being a warrior in the ring, being true to your craft, is not mutually exclusive for the business part of the game. Okay, so you can do the business and still, you know, handle your responsibilities, you know, as far as fighting goes. But like I said, a lot of these guys out there today are ducking. Okay, they want no smoke. They just basically want to collect big checks. Okay, and fight, you know, the easiest fights they can fight. You know, a lot of these guys build up their record with, you know, substandard opponents. Okay, and you know, that's what it is with a lot of these guys. They don't want to fight any tough fight. They just want to try and, you know, like, I mean, how could Derek James say that, claim that Errol Spence is the best, and then in the same breath says that his legacy doesn't involve fighting Crawford? I mean, that doesn't really make any sense. So that right away tells me that they're ducking Crawford. I mean, you know, that's I mean, anybody can see that. Even a blind man can see that. I don't care what, you could be Spence fan or not, but at the end of the day, when you look at the facts objectively, we can, you know, say without a doubt that Errol Spence is ducking Terence Crawford. I mean, it's you know, people want to see that fight, but this guy is making up all kind of excuses. Even his trainer is coming out and making up excuses for him not to fight Crawford. Okay, so I mean, it is what it is. You know, here and you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, nah, Errol Spence is not ducking anybody. He doesn't duck it. But I mean, come on, people. Let's look at the facts. I mean, even Errol Spence himself said it. Okay, that he doesn't want to fight Crawford right now. You know, he's looking to fight everybody else but Crawford. Okay, and he said it himself. He want to take an easier route because Crawford is not the easy route. Okay, and Errol Spence said that he wants to take an easier route than fighting Crawford. Crawford confronted him about fighting him, and that's what Errol Spence said. Okay, I mean, it's clear as day. And you know, a lot of people get upset when I say this, you know, but the fact is, without a doubt, you know, he's ducking Crawford. I mean, remember when he was, you know, when Errol Spence was just a contender and he was coming up, a lot of people ducked him. You know, Thurman, Porter, all these guys, they kind of ducked him when he was coming up for whatever reason. But you know, and you know, I kind of fell for the guy at the time because people. I even did a video about people ducking him and it was him and Book, I believe. You know, Carol Book. People were ducking both of these guys. Okay, didn't want to mention their name, you know, but you know, he persevered. That is Errol Spence, and now he's a champion. Okay, now you'd think that going through that experience that he would, you know, understand and then wouldn't do the same thing, but unfortunately, you know, he's ducking now, just like the other guy, just like he's just a bigger ducker as Keith Thurman was. Okay, I mean, you know, I hate to say that, but it is what it is. Okay, because the Crawford Spence fight is the biggest fight in boxing. There's a lot of money involved. So why wouldn't you want to make that fight? I mean, there's only one reason why. Okay, I mean, if you would want to make that fight, because you know, I mean, and then a lot of people out there saying that, you know, Crawford's, you know, record is this and he has a suspect record, this, that, and the other. And, you know, I always say, you know, my answer to that is always this. If Crawford is not fighting anybody and he's not that good, and as people are claiming, these Errol Spence fanboys, especially these PBC fanboys and LDBC fanboys, if Crawford is not that good as they claim, then why doesn't Errol Spence just go over there and take the belt from him? I mean, that's what I would do. If I thought a guy wasn't any good and he was fighting substandard competition and, you know, and all that, I would just say, oh shit, I want that belt. This guy's, you know, he's not any good. I'm just going to take it. I'll just go and take the belt. That's what I would do. Okay, I mean, that's just the common sense. But Errol Spence is not doing that. Okay, he's doing everything in the book to try and duck the fight with Terence Crawford. That a fighter that his trainer, you know, and everybody else say, you know, well, his trainer Derek James is not saying that Crawford is not good because he's not that, you know, he's a trainer, so he knows what time it is, you know. But he's saying that the fight's not going to sell, which is silly. Okay, I mean, it's a ridiculous comment, and so we know by that comment alone. How could a fight that everybody wants to see not sell? I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. But you know, that's the kind of mental gymnastics these guys go through when they're trying to duck, you know, a fighter. I mean, and this is what it is. So he's trying to duck Crawford, so he's making up all kind of reasons why the fight shouldn't go on, and then even so much as to say, even going out of his way to say that Errol Spence's legacy doesn't depend on fighting Crawford. So we know that that's just, you know, ducking in full view. Okay, and if people don't believe what I'm saying, you know, they're gonna hear it from Spence's own mouth. I mean, Spence said it, so I'm gonna play the clip and let you hear when Crawford ran up on, you know, pulled up on Spence and confronted him about, you know, hey man, I've been trying to fight you since I was 140 pounds and blah blah blah. Spence, you know, told him this. Check it out.
Hey, end of 2019.
Hey,
did you not say that?
All that?
Did you not say that? That's what your promoter
This
said.
is what I'm saying.
I read it all.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I read it all too.
That's what your promoter
Terence
said.
Crawford, wait till he get a belt.
Yeah.
He ain't did nothing in the welterweight today.
You
When he
have
get
did
a belt,
nothing.
when he
You
get a
have
belt,
did nothing.
you want to
You have
go
did
over there. Keith Thurman want to go over there, and now y'all want to say, oh, I ain't fought nobody, but I got a belt now, so
Okay.
why?
Okay. Sean Porter got a belt too.
So now
Sean
this-
Porter got a belt too. Sean Porter. So why am I go to easy road and you knock Sean Porter out? So why am I go to easy road and you knock Sean Porter out? So why am I go to easy road and you knock Sean Porter out? Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I?
Nigga, this dude-
So he's ducking. I mean, it's from his own mouth, and there can be no doubt about it. Okay, he said it himself. Why don't I go the easier route and fight Sean Porter? And you know, unfortunately for him, that the route wasn't as easy as he thought it was going to be, and he almost lost his title to Sean Porter. It was a close fight. So this is the kind of thing that's going on in boxing, and you know, like I said, I would think that you know Errol Spence would have been different, but unfortunately, you know, he's not. He's just another guy that's out there trying to maximize his business, the business aspect, and at the detriment of the the Warriors code when it comes to boxing. You know, he's ducking Terence Crawford, and nobody can deny it. But at this point, okay, and you know, when we look at Terence Crawford, he's a guy that doesn't even pick his fights, as he said. You know, he just said, let them line him up and I'll knock him down. Okay, he doesn't care who comes or who it is that he's going to fight next. Okay, he's not lining up fights ahead in advance and cherry picking fighters so he can fight this guy, that guy, that guy. Okay, he said, bring him to me and I'll line him up and I'll knock him down. Okay, that's a warrior. Okay, just like Tevin Farmer is a warrior. Okay, these guys are warriors. I mean, they're businessmen, but they have a warrior's code. Okay, and unfortunately for a lot of for boxing, a lot of these guys in boxing doesn't have a warrior's code. Okay, they're just out there trying to slip and slide and shuck and jive and cherry pick and duck. I mean, and this is why boxing is in such bad shape today. Okay, I mean, we can also take a look at the young phenom Devin Haney, another warrior out there, who observed the Warriors code, taking on all comers. I mean, this guy Devin Haney, it's incredible. A young fighter like this, he has called out almost everybody, and nobody's taking him upon his, on the call out, except for what's his name? Their fight is coming up. I don't know why I always forget this guy's name for some reason, but they have a fight coming up next, and that's Devin's next fight in November 7th. Yeah, November 7th is Devin Haney's next fight, and he's gonna fight this guy. He's the only one stepping forward to fight Devin Haney. Everybody else, is basically been ducking. I mean, it's incredible. Haney, as a young fighter, is willing to take all the top fights. But a lot of guys don't want to fight Haney. Okay, I mean, Gamboa is the guy name I was trying to remember. Him and Gamboa is going to fight next, and I mean, even Lomachenko looked like he didn't want to fight Devin Haney at one point because he relinquished his title and moved up, and Haney got the title. Now it could be that he wanted to take our challenges at a a higher weight division and move up and do that, and he has done that. But when they were he got some kind of franchise belt or something like that or whatever. I don't know, French fries belt as Aki TV calls it, the French fries belt. Okay, I think the same belt that CARNE-LO has, some kind of French fries belt, a franchise belt they call it. So the Haney Lomachenko fight didn't happen. But I mean, just think of that. Okay, a young kid like Haney calling out a guy like Lomachenko. Okay. I mean, then again, I mean, everybody is claiming that Lomachenko is number one pound for pound. I mean, I like Lomachenko. He's a great boxer, phenomenal boxer. Okay, but to say that he's pound for pound number one is ridiculous. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't see it no other way. How can he be pound for pound number one when he's only have 14 or 15 fights? You know what I mean? So I mean, pound for pound is not just how skilled a fighter is, but it's what a fighter has done, in his career. Okay, and so to say that Lomachenko is pound for pound is an insult to the pound for pound standard. I mean, status. Okay, because he hasn't fought that many fights, and he hasn't fought. He hasn't accomplished. I mean, much. In turn, I mean, he's accomplished a lot, but he hasn't accomplished enough to be considered number one pound for pound. Okay, so I mean, he'd have to at least become undisputed at one of the, I don't care which one division he come undisputed at, whether it's 130 pounds or 135 pounds, okay, whichever, or 120, I don't care which one, but he has to become undisputed at one of those divisions before we can claim that he's number one pound for pound. And even then, he probably wouldn't be number one pound for pound, because you got Terence Crawford, who has accomplished that already, okay, and he's a 3-division fighter, who can possibly move up and become a 4-division fighter. So, I mean, although Lomachenko has a lot of skills, and I respect his skills, the boxing skills, him and Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez fight is coming up next, and, we got to give credit to Lomachenko, because, he's fighting all these big guys at lightweight. He's not a natural lightweight. To me, he's more like a junior lightweight, naturally, but he's moving up and fighting these big guys, okay? And some of them, he's stopping some of them, okay? So that's how, we have to give it to him in that sense. But to call him pound for pound, now if he was to unify the lightweight division, which means that he would have to beat Devin Haney and Lopez, then there would be no doubt that he's one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world. That would be a no-brainer. But he hasn't done that yet, so we can't jump the gun, like a lot of these. But I mean, I think a lot of the reason why people think that this guy is pound for pound is because he's white. And once you have the right color, then you're gonna get a lot of accolades, because we all know that I mean, racism exists in America, and it's in every facet of American life, including boxing. Okay, so that's just what it is. But I'm not doing too much on that right now. But I just want to say that these 3 guys, Tevin Farmer, Terence Crawford, and Devin Haney, are warriors in the truest sense of the word, and I respect that to the max. Okay, and I think a lot of guys in boxing, should maybe follow their lead, because it would make boxing much better than it is right now. Okay, so that's just my thoughts on the matter. Okay, and like I said, Devin Haney, is a true warrior. Terence Crawford is a true warrior, and Tevin Farmer is a true warrior. And these guys step up to the plate and do what they have to do to defend their title, and so, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if a guy lose a fight. I mean, I'm not gonna count a guy up because he lost a fight. If you lose a fight against someone and then you go back and you beat the person you lost to, then hey, that's great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody can be undisputed, okay? And just because a guy lose a fight, that doesn't really diminish them, okay? Especially if they, you just lost to the better man that night. But if you go back and then you get revenge and reclaim your or beat the person that beat you, then hey, it's all good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? That doesn't make this guy, I mean, he's still, just because he has 1 loss or 2 losses or 3 losses, okay, that doesn't really mean much, as long as this guy's out there fighting the fight he's supposed to fight and winning, and then even if he lose, he comes back and beat the guy that beat him, then it's all good. That's that's the way I look at it. That's what the Warriors do. So again, right now, I'm just want to highlight these 3 guys, because I think these 3 guys are warriors, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, a lot of guys, a lot of boxers out there, are just ducking, okay? And it is what it is. But hopefully that Tevin Farmer will be able to corner Jojo Diaz, which I'm kind of surprised that Jojo Diaz is doing what he's doing. I mean, he seems like a stand-up guy, but I guess you can't judge a book by its cover. But I'm hopeful that that fight will come to fruition soon, because I want to see that rematch, okay, and see what if our Tevin Farmer can make any adjustments and beat Jojo Diaz. But it looks like Jojo Diaz is on the run, and you're gonna have to Tevin Farmer is gonna have to track him down. And so for the fans out there and boxing fans, if they catch a sight of Jojo Diaz on the run, you should report it to our Tevin Farmer's team, so that we can go ahead and track him down, because he seems like he's definitely on the duck. But what can you say? It is what it is. We all know the situation with Spence and Crawford. It's been I've gone over it extensively, and told other people, and the situation hasn't changed much as far as we know right now. Spencer's fighting Danny Garcia next. He might win. We don't know. He might not, but everybody expect him to win. But I don't see any. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to beat Danny Garcia, because Danny Garcia, is a good fighter. So, but we'll see. Right now, hopefully, I'm hoping that after that Danny Garcia fight, that they will try to start making the Spence Crawford fight. But I wouldn't hold my breath, because, like I said, Errol Spence and even his trainer, has shown a propensity for trying to duck Crawford, and they're going full. They're not even doing it with any shame in their game. They're doing it in plain sight. We already saw the clip that I showed you. Okay. Haney, I mean, he was supposed to fight Gary Russell, the guy that claimed that he wanted to move up 4 weight divisions and fight Terence Crawford. Okay, and then he got called out by Devin Haney in the process, and he's been running and hiding ever since. As a matter of fact, no one has heard from him in quite some time, and he's probably somewhere hiding in the some kind of boxing witness protection program, as far as I can tell, because he hasn't shown popped up his head anymore. He's gone silent, basically. So, I mean, this is the kind of thing that goes on. I mean, here's a guy that claimed that he wants to fight Terence Crawford, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, at 147. He's at 126 pounds. Never left 126 pounds in his whole life, okay? But all of a sudden, he pops up from out of the woodwork and claims that, he wants to fight Terence. And a lot of people ran with this whole idea of this fight, which was ridiculous in the first place. Terence Crawford, to his credit, never really gave it much credence. And I would have done it either if I was him. So, this Gary Russell, Gary Russell is a pretty good fighter, but he has no, calling out Terence Crawford is pure foolishness. And he knows that. But and it was basically a clout chase, and we all know that now, based on what happened between Gary Russell and Devin Haney. Okay, he ducked, dived, jived, shocked, and do everything, to avoid the fight with Devin Haney. So, I mean, it is what it is. So right now, I just see that these 3 guys are the warriors in the boxing right now, and hopefully, like I said, Tevin will finally catch up to Jojo Diaz. He seems to be a track star running for his life right now. Tevin, I mean, hopefully, Terence Crawford will track down and finally capture Errol Spence, but I don't know. Errol Spence seems to be a track star right now, running, ducking, and then there's Devin Haney. He's been trying to get a fight with Lomachenko. Hopefully he'll get the winner of the Lomachenko Lopez fight. Okay, I don't know. A lot of people saying that Lopez has a chance against Lomachenko. I don't know. I mean, he's big, and he's a bigger guy than Lomachenko, and he could possibly beat Lomachenko, but I don't know. I see that Lomachenko has a lot of boxing skills. I don't think that Lopez is, Teofimo is ready for Lomachenko at this point. I think he's getting fed to the lions, but you never know. He definitely got a puncher's chance, and he's quick. So we'll see what happens with that fight. But that's all I have for right now. So I'm gonna leave it there. This is TBE Boxing. I'm out.